Welcome to the hands-on session of DC Probe Session 2. Myself, Ashwini Kumari. I am a Senior Facility Technologist in Center for Nanoscience and Engineering, Micro and Nano Characterization Facility. So let us see the DC Probe Station 2. So basically this is the DC Probe Station 2. Here we have the probe station and this is the measurement instrument. So the probe station consists of 4 manipulators. So these are 4 manipulators. So we have some positioners. So these are called as positioners. So this is the X positioner, this is the Y positioner and this is the Z positioner. The rotation for this positioner is 150 micron per rotation. So this manipulator also has a vacuum here. So the vacuum lines are connected to the corners of these 2 lines. Left side and right side both we have vacuum lines. So we have probe arm and then the tungsten tip. So we have 3 different sizes of tungsten tip: 1.2 micron, 2.4 micron, 12 micron radius. So this is the triaxial cable. So we have 3 axes here. So normally in the BNC cable you can see the center pin and the outer body. So the speciality of this triaxial cable is we have a conductive guard ring. So that is the outer golden part, whatever you see from the signal line. So the cable leakage of this triaxial cable, it is basically 1 femtoamp. So this means you can measure range like picoamps, femtoamps of current very easily. So basically this particular triaxial cable is meant for low current measurements. So we have 4 SMUs or the manipulators. So these SMUs are just with the manipulator connected. So we have one chuck. This is the 6.5 inch chuck. So here is the signal, here is the conductive guard and this is the outer cover. So this is also low leakage chuck we have. So when you want to move the manipulator, basically you can press the button like this and you can start moving like this wherever you want to place the probe tips. You can place it and use this Z axis for probing purpose. So we can adjust the height of chuck basically up and down with the lever. So we can use this up and down lever. So we have a microscope which is a 20x magnification of microscope. So basically we have a zoom option. With this knob you can use zoom option up to 0.7x. So this knob helps you to adjust the focus. So we have a 21 volt 150 watt fluorescence lamp source. So this is used for probing purpose. So and this particular knob gives you to change the intensity of the lamp. So this is the overview of probe station. So basically we have the panels connected with 2 cables at the left. So 2 manipulator cables are connected at the left and at the right you have 2 cables connected. So the chuck is also having a cable which can be used as a bottom contact that is connected to the one more contact which can be used based on the application for bottom contact. This is Agilent B1500A semiconductor device analyzer. So we will be using this instrument for the measurement purpose. So we have a software here which is Start Easy Expert software. So this software we will try to open. So this is a software. So in this software we have 4 SMUs, source measuring units. We have 1 capacitance measurement unit. We have 1 fast waveform generation measurement unit, 1 ground unit. So basically the source measuring unit whatever we have, it is capable of applying plus or minus 100 volts and plus or minus 100 milliamps of maximum current. So the resolution of these 4 SMUs are 10 picoamps and 100 microvolt. So we have a capacitance measurement unit. We can apply plus or minus 100 volts and AC voltage is 25 millivolts to 250 millivolts maximum and the frequency is 1 kilo to 5 megahertz. We have a fast waveform generation measurement unit. We can apply pulses which is 10 nanoseconds to 1 second of sampling rate using this unit. So when we start the software, we can see the DC Probe Station 2 general workspace here. This is the workspace name. We have different test setups here. The first one is application test setup. Second one is classic test, tracer test, quick test. So basically, if we start with the application test, we can see the different categories which is listed here. Based on the application, a user can select their application and they can measure the devices. So when you click this button and when you select it, so you get these kind of parameters here, and there is a graphical representation of the measurement setup. So you can enter this parameter, whatever this measurement parameter it is asking for, and we can start the measurement by clicking the run button. So we will get a graphical representation of the data. So currently I am measuring the capacitance measurement. So here we can see the capacitance versus frequency parameter. So if you see the data, we are getting a capacitance versus conductance plot. So in this plot, we can see the frequency here with the data, capacitance, conductance, series capacitance, series resistance, parallel resistance, dissipation factor, reactance, impedance. And also we can see the phase shift theta, DC oscillation voltage and AC oscillation voltage both. So this is for the ready-made setup what we get from the factory. So we can do measurement setup according to our wish. So the classic setup, test setup we can use, and we can select the first one, IV sweep. So if we select the IV sweep, we can get 4 different source measuring units according to the probe station what we have connected with the manipulator. So if we select from the drop down, we can see the different SMU names here and a ground unit. So now I will show you 2 probe measurement setup. So I will delete the rest of the 2 in order to avoid confusions. So first SMU I will select as SMU 1 and second SMU is 4, which I use for the device to probe. So the voltage name I can give for the SMU 1 is V1 and the current name is I1. So one more SMU I will be giving the ground, but still I have to give the name for the SMU, which is V2 and I2 here. Mode I can select voltage mode or a current mode according to the requirement of measurement. If I want to give a pulse measurement, voltage pulse or a current pulse I can select. Common is for the ground terminal. So now I will be giving a voltage, so I will be selecting the voltage. Function setup I can get variable 1, variable 2, variable prime and variable constant. So here variable 1 means it is a step voltage. Variable 2, it is a multiple constant voltage. For a transistor characteristics, we can use this application. Variable prime is if you have a gate contact which is with the bottom and the top. Both if you want to sweep for a ratio, say 1:2 or 1:4, we can use this. If you give a voltage here and a constant here, it is a voltage constant. So now I am selecting variable 1. We can give one terminal as ground I said earlier. So now we can select common and constant here. So this is the ground terminal, this is the terminal where I give the voltage. So in the measurement setup, the SMU whatever I am selecting for the voltage sweep, it is here and the name is also listed here. So the direction of sweep I can give single direction or a double direction. Single direction means 0 to 1 volt. Double direction means 0 to 1 and 1 to 0 it will come backward. So this is for the hysteresis plot. So linear or logarithmic also we can select based on our application. The graph will be plotted in the logarithmic form. So start voltage according to the measurement requirement we can enter here. Suppose if I use a solar cell, I can give -1 to +1. So step voltage 20 millivolt I have given. So now my number of steps is 101. Standard measurement setup will have 101 steps. This is for the better accuracy of the data. So compliance, as I said you earlier, it is 100 milliamps of maximum current. Power compliance is basically 2 watt here. So we can give either a power compliance or a current compliance. hold time, it is for the initial voltage whatever we start with. If you don't give a hold voltage, so basically we get some spikes in the initial data at the starting time of a measurement. Delay time is for the each step voltage. When we select a step voltage, say with increment 20 millivolt, we give basically some delay for the proper response time of the device. So we can select 10 milli here. We have sweep status here, continue at any, stop at abnormal, skip at abnormal. So continue at any means normally it will carry the measurement without any hold or error. So stop at abnormal means if there is any abnormal condition, say like the device is shorted. So normally if you measure some pico range of current and all of a sudden the device is shorted, because of which we get 100 milliamps of current. So for that purpose, there is some abnormality, the instrument will detect that and it will stop the measurement. Skip at abnormal means if any abnormality exists but still it will skip that abnormality and it will start measuring. So normally we use continue at any. Function setup, we can write some formulas here. We can write the resistance formula. As we give the voltage to the instrument, current this instrument will measure. We can write a simple formula for the resistance. So V by I, according to the Ohm's law, resistance can be measured. So auto analysis setup, basically we have a pre-measured value from the device like a calibration chart. We can compare the calibration chart along with the current measured values. So this we don't have any pre-measured data here, so we can go to directly display setup. So in the display setup we can measure, we can basically see the graph plot. So V1 by I1 is my graph plot. List display is nothing but when you export the data, you can see the data in terms of a value in the export of CSV format or a text format. So we will get these three columns in the data export. So now I have set up the measurement setup, but before this I need to calibrate the instrument. So in the calibration part I have SMU source, SMU zero cancel. So basically we have 4 source measuring unit. So I will be measuring my devices in any one of these range. So I have to calibrate this particular range. So say from 1 nano to 10 pico, because these are very important, because these are low current measurements. If these measurements are not calibrated, low current measurements are not calibrated, it will add to the measurement. So which will be erroneous measurements. So I will measure this so that the instrument will subtract these values from the SMUs after measurements. So this is called as SMU zero cancel. So I select basically all and I give the continue. So device under test has to be removed so that the instrument can calibrate. Now the instrument is calibrated, we can see there is no error here. Earlier we had some error. So the error could be the setup error, and there could be some stress in the cables, or the cable is having high leakage. So those cable leakage and the contact resistance leakage all are taken care with the measurement setup. Once we calibrated, these measurement values are taken into the account of noise level. So now my calibration is done. So we can probe one device which is a solar cell and we can see the results now. So this is a silicon solar cell. So in this different dimension of solar cells are here. So we can measure one device which is 1 centimeter cross 1 centimeter and we will see the results using 2 probe measurement technique. So I am turning on the vacuum here for the chuck. So this positioners I will be using. So one chuck I have a bottom contact. So I will be using this chuck connection, which is the orange cable connected to the chuck. So one more terminal is this manipulator. So this manipulator I will be probing it using the microscope. So now this is probed using the microscope. I will reduce the intensity and I will turn off the lamp source. So now I will be measuring this solar cell. So this is the measurement parameter -1 to +1. So we can run this experiment. This is the run button. So I am starting the experiment here. Now the SMU I have used is 3 and 4. So I have selected the same. The measurement parameter is -1 to +1. So I'll start the experiment. So this is the silicon solar cell characteristics. So -1 to 0 it is a reverse bias, and 0 to 1 it is a forward bias. So this is the breakdown voltage. So 0.6 volts is the breakdown voltage, and this is the data I get. So at 1 volt it is 45 milliamps. So now the same experiment we will try to see with the light shine. So we are using fluorescence lamp, 21 volt, 150 watt. I'll turn on the lamp and we will see the measurements here again. I have turned on the lamp, so it is with full intensity, 150 watt power. So now I am running the experiment with light. The previous one was without light. Now this is with light. So the current has been increased in the depletion region. We can see the results here. Earlier in the -1 it was 104 nanoamps. Now with respect to the light, it is almost 1.95 milliamps. So this is the change we get with respect to the light intensity, because we have an anti-reflection coating here. So whatever the light we shine, maximum light it observes and it generates the carrier. So this is the two probe measurements. So normally two probe measurements will give you contact resistance. So up to any value, say more than 100 ohms, we can use two probe measurement technique. If you are using for say less than 100 ohms, we have to go for a 4 probe measurement technique. Okay, if you want to configure this particular setup, which is a 2 probe setup, for a 3 probe setup, we can add a SMU here. So this 2 SMUs will behave as a IDVD characteristics. So this will be the drain, this will be the source which is grounded. So if you want to add a one more SMU, we have to add with a particular name here. So basically we can select the name of SMU here with respect to the voltage and current. So this terminal, which is with a gate terminal for a transistor, it will behave like a multiple constant voltage. So we are selecting a variable 2. So this is drain, this is source, and this is a gate terminal, which is a multiple constant gate terminal. So we can select the measurement parameter like this for a sweep voltage, and for a multiple constant we can use here for a step voltage. For example, if I give a 1 volt here, so I will basically get 1 volt increment after each sweep of -1 to 1 volt. So function setup, it is basically the same. We can add some formulas if we require. In the display setup, if you want to go for a IDBD, we can select, or a IDVG we can select, and the list display also remains the same. Whatever the parameter you want to extract for a measurement result, you can add here. So for 4 probe measurements, basically we can add one more SMU. So this SMU will basically vary the step voltage, and one more terminal will be grounded, because normally we use 4 terminal method to avoid the contact resistance and the probe tip resistance. If we add the same measurement setup with the contact resistance and the probe tip resistance, we will get error value. We cannot measure low resistance accurately. So in order to avoid contact resistance and cable resistance, we go for 4 probe measurement technique. So these two SMUs are for voltage. If you want to measure a current, we can select a voltage here and a voltage here. We can give constant here, because we need a current measurements. If we select the, one second, we will change the SMU name because the error popped up. So we can select the current here for these two, we can select the voltage here for these two SMUs, and then we can give a 0 volt here so that the instrument can measure a current. Now the voltage whatever we give, it is a sweep voltage -1 to +1, it will remain the same, and the current will be measured across these two terminals. So in the function we can write a resistance function which is V1, and for V3 and V4 we have given a, so we have four terminals here. So basically we are giving terminal 1 and 2 for the voltage sweep and 3 and 4 for the current measurement. So if we want to write a formula here, so it is V1 by basically I2 by I3 by I4, I3 minus I4, okay. So I3 by I4 is here. So we are taking the subtraction of these two because we want to measure only one current. So we don't know which terminal is high here or which terminal is ground or a low potential here. So basically if we give 0, 0 here for both the SMUs, any one terminal will be high and one more terminal will be grounded according to the instrument. So in the display we can measure the graph plot here, whatever the terminal you want to measure. Suppose if you want to take a resistance plot, we can take a resistance plot here. So if you want to analyze some of the parameters, whatever we have given, we can add the parameters and we can select from the drop down here. So this is the 4 terminal measurement. So IV sweep completes here. So we can go for a multi-channel sweep. So in multi-channel sweep, basically you can give 2 variable voltage and 1 variable 2 constant voltage and 1 more ground terminal. In case of a IV sweep, we can give only 1 variable voltage and multiple constant voltage. We cannot give variable 1 twice. So for that purpose, we are using multi-channel IV sweep. So we can select variable 1 twice here, variable 2 here, and a constant or a ground here. So the same method, whatever we follow for IV sweep, step voltage we can give here, and a constant voltage number of step we can give here. Function also you can write the function according to your measurement requirement, and display we can select some graph plot of x and y parameter, and the data export also you can export in the form of a voltage, current, or whatever the data you require. So in case of a IV list sweep, so the difference between IV list sweep, in case of a IV list sweep, here we can design our own step size. So we can add some step size according to the measurement requirement. Here there is no step like whatever we do in IV sweep. So we can give random step size. So we can see here it is 0 volt, 8 volt, 2 volt and -9. So there is no step size here. We can give some random voltage and measure. So rest of the parameters like function setup, display setup, everything remains the same how we do for IV sweep and multi-channel sweep. So in case of a IV time sampling, so we can measure any kind of devices with respect to time. So basically I have connected a diode here, silicon solar cell, so I will just do the time response measurement here. So I am selecting the SMU, whatever I have probed for the device. So voltage I am giving here, this is the ground terminal. In the measurement setup, we can give measurement interval. So basically if we want to measure 1 second of interval measurement time, so I want number of samples is 101. So total sampling time is 100 seconds. So sequential or simultaneous also I can give. Sequential is basically for the source voltage, whatever we can give here for the device. If you select a simultaneous, it is basically with respect to the base voltage. Suppose if you have a switch, you turn on the switch by giving some voltage, and if you want to see the discharge rate of a switch or a capacitor, basically you can use this. So currently I am using sequential here. Hold time and delay time you can give based on your requirement. So now I am giving just 1 volt here. So I will be measuring the display graph plot. So with respect to the time I measure. So time and current I require to monitor here. So I will do the same. So we can see the graph plot. So So this is the time interval and this is the current what I get from the device. So we can see how the current is varying with respect to the time. So we can see the variation of the current from say 48 milli to 46 milli almost, and it is not constant. Ideally current should be constant with respect to the time, but still there is some variation. So this is the graph plot we get with respect to the time and current. So we can see the CV sweep. So we can delete the SMU since we are using only the module for CV. So we have a different measurement test combination here. So one is like CPG, parallel capacitance, conductance, parallel capacitance, dissipation factor, quality factor, parallel resistance, series capacitance, inductance you have, conductance you have with respect to the dissipation factor, and then quality factor. So multiple real and imaginary combination of measurement is there. This is the Z theta. So now we are selecting just the CPD, parallel capacitance and dissipation factor. So we can use the voltage, say for example -5 to +5. Step voltage is 100 milli. Number of step is 101. So this is the DC bias voltage what we give, and this is the frequency what we apply for the AC signal, which is 30 millivolt. So normally when we put the AC signal, we have to use the noise averaging factor. Otherwise, the results will be very noisy. So factor I'll select 3. This is the power line cycle for averaging the measurement values. Just if you put a 3 factor, it will take the 3 cycles and it will average it and it will give the 1 value. So data will be much accurate without the noise. So in the display data, basically I can select bias voltage and capacitance. So in the data export, I can select bias voltage, frequency, capacitance, and then dissipation factor. So before going for the measurement, I need to calibrate this particular unit, so which is with 4 different types of unit. So first one is phase compensation, open correction, short correction, load correction. So currently we are not measuring any device which is low value, so we can use only the open and phase compensation. If you use a very less value of device, say 1 pico or lesser than that, we can go for a short correction. So currently I will be using phase compensation and open correction. I have to do a calibration with the open DUT. Right now the device under test has been removed and the connection is been changed for the capacitance measurement unit. These two are the capacitance measurement unit connections which I have to do. So I will be using a device which is with the bottom contact and the top contact. So the bottom contact connection is connected here and the manipulator is been left open in the air. So this is the CMU calibration setup. Here we can do a phase compensation. So in the advanced option we have the use factory specified frequencies. That means the instrument will have desired frequency for the calibration. We can use this particular default calibration frequency range, or you can use custom frequency range of calibration according to the measurement requirement. Now I am using factory specified frequency. Which is these listed frequencies here. So that means I can cover 1 kilo to 5 megahertz of frequency range. Entire frequency range will be covered during my measurement. So first is phase compensation. So this says that high potential to high current has to be shorted, low potential to low current has to be shorted, and the device under test has to be removed. So we have done that. So we'll click OK. Once the calibration is done, there is a tick mark here. This indicates that the calibration is being done and the values is being stored in the buffer. So the calibration is done. Open correction also can be done. So the same it says, it's a warning. So we are following the same. We have connected the short, high potential, high current, low potential, low current, and we have removed the device under test. So now the calibration is being done. So we'll close and we will connect the device. This is the MOS capacitor, metal oxide semiconductor capacitor. So this capacitor I'll be probing it and I'll show you the demonstration. So I've turned on the vacuum. So I'll be probing the device. So now it is probed. I will turn off the lamp. So now I'll start the experiment. So this is the accumulation region. This is the depletion region. This should be the inversion region, but still there is some trap because of which it is under deep depletion region. So now we can do the slow scan so that the deep depletion effect will go and it will go to the inversion region. So I have given hold time as 10 seconds, delay time as 3 seconds. So we can see the change of hold and delay time with respect to the carriers generation. So if we give a slow scan, basically it is taking lot of time to generate the carriers. Once the carrier generation time is given, so it will have sufficient time to generate the carrier and go to the inversion region. You can see the measurement is very slow. So this is the deep depletion region. Now if we give sufficient times for the carriers to generate, it is going for the inversion region. So if we do a proper measurement scan and with sufficient time, we will be able to get the inversion region. So measurement method is very important. So we have to follow the measurement method for accurate measurements. Still here some of the deep depletion effect exists. If we do further slow scan, we can go to this complete region. Wherever it is there in a deep depletion, we can go to the inversion region. Normally in a measurement setup, when we consider as a setup, we have cable resistance which is coming from the semiconductor device analyzer to the panel of DC probe station and DC probe station to the manipulator. So the cable resistance from the semiconductor device analyzer is basically like less than 1 ohm, and from the panel to the probe station it is basically less than 1 ohm. So when we take these 0.7 ohm and 0.7 ohm from the semiconductor device analyzer plus the probe station, it is almost 1.4 ohms, and the tungsten tip resistance is almost 1 ohm. So when we take the setup as a account for resistance measurement, it will be almost more than 3 ohms. So in order to get a proper resistance measurement, we have to use 4 probe measurements, or if it is less than 10 ohm, you have to use a Kelvin probe measurements. So wherein 2 separate probes will be used for voltage and 2 separate probes will be used for current. So the capacitance measurement is almost repeating with the same accumulation. One more method we can follow to generate these carriers, that is artificially we can generate the carriers, that is with respect to the light shine. So but that is not the right way to generate the carriers. That will give erroneous values, because when we shine the light, sometimes it may be at the higher intensity, sometimes it will be at the lower intensity. So we have to always generate the carrier by giving a proper delay time for the carriers. Basically it has to respond with respect to the time, with respect to the sufficient time. Now the measurement is almost done. I will show you the artificial way of generating the carriers also. Again it will give a erroneous values because it is not the right way. If we don't follow the proper measurement method, we may get the erroneous values. So the measurement is almost done. What we can do is we can do one measurement with respect to light. We know that silicon absorbs the light and it gives the carrier generation. So that also we can see. So now I have turned on the light. So it is very less intensity, but still you can see the light which is shining on the sample. So now I have shined a small amount of light. We'll see how it measures. So with respect to the light, it generates the carrier very faster. So and you can see it is a clean inversion, and the measurements are done. So this is normal measurements without any hold and delay. This is with the hold and delay, so that the device is getting sufficient time for the carriers to generate. And this is with light. If we use with light and do the measurement, so we are getting this particular error. So we have to know what is the measurement method. So when we go across this tracer test, basically this is acting like an oscilloscope. So you can generate some of the traces here like a oscilloscope graph. So quick test, basically we can generate some measurement test setup here. Measurement test setup, like if you go to favorite setup, preset group, add preset group, you can add some name here and you can generate the measurement setup by saving the name. So quick test, basically you can get all the number of measurements here, and if you select a particular measurement and give a green color run button, that particular measurement it will run. So if you want to do a device for a long run, you can select the measurement setup like this and give for a run. So the data, whatever we run here, it will be saved here in a buffer. If you want to transport the data, click here, transport data, export as CSV for a particular data, or a folder export we can do. It will ask for the path wherever we want to select. Always CSV format should be there, and you can export the data. So this is about the measurement setup. If you want to go for a number of count, say 100 count or 3 repeated counts, you can select the count here and give a run button. Back to back measurements will be done and will be saved to the folder. So thank you for the hands-on session of DC Probe Session 2.